Okay, Logan and uh, Shayna helped me to hook up my mobile hotspot today. So I'm using that on my computer. They showed me how to do it myself. They literally taught me how to do it. All this time, that's all I needed. Somebody teach me how to do that. Now, since it's the first time setting it up on this computer, my battery is about halfway gone, and when my battery gets halfway gone, it just shuts off in the middle of it. However, I cannot have interactions with the police that are not recorded and put up for the public to see. It just cannot happen. There's enough situations that are on the internet that the cops knew that they would get away with. They knew that even with it being posted public, they were going to get away with blatantly breaking the law. They all know that by calling somebody mentally ill, they're basically implying to the general public that the person is crazy and violent and probably schizophrenic. It's even worse when those officers are literally telling hospital staff that you're schizophrenic. When they're doing everything that they can to cut you off from anybody who can help you. That's right. Repeatedly, when I've tried to turn in the police, I've been incarcerated for it. And that's forced me to have to do some very, very desperate things. Things that police want to repeatedly tell me is not wrong. Now, I need to make sure this is recorded, and my computer is probably going to die in the next couple of minutes. So I do need to find my keys. They have my clandestine recording device on them, and I can turn it on. It is a ginormous pain in the butt to do this, and it's unfortunate that I'm having to do it at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning. But I don't have anyone here that I can ask. That housing place that I was trying to turn in yesterday to that officer and explain about how their unprofessionalism is not okay. They want you to jump through paperwork. They don't want to listen to the situation and find out and help to figure out what's best for me. They're interested in having me leap before looking. They're not looking at what's going on. The other day when those officers were up here at the park and ride, and I was videoing it on my or on my Facebook because I didn't have the ability to do it on YouTube at the time. I didn't learn how to record on this phone that I have on YouTube until just today. Well, it's like 3 a.m. It was yesterday that I learned how to do it, I guess, real late. When you go in by yourself, cops are real fond of telling you things that are untrue, especially if they don't know they're being recorded. Or if they don't think that you're someone who's going to be able to have access to the body cams. I got a hold of them today to try to get Don Cheli's body camera. I couldn't hardly understand them. I got to make those calls from places like Starbucks or places like the library where I can get kicked out if I talk about certain things. So then I have to not talk about certain things because of the environment. It's a pain. Meanwhile, what that officer did when that guy was walking around with the rock, including two other situations prior, about that same dude with a rock, I don't look nothing like him. I didn't give him my jacket until the third time that I'd seen that guy. Sorry, not the third time I'd seen that guy, because the second time when the cops pulled me over in town, had their hands on their guns, and the lady at the Astro spoke up, and she's recorded on my Facebook as well. But he's wanting to go out of his way like everybody else to pull the pretendy. If I ignore it, it didn't happen and the consequences don't actually exist. Are you guys that stuffed up in your heads and detached from reality? Do you really believe that there are no consequences for me after all of this? Do you really believe that the cops are nice to me when I have to try to turn in my predators to the very cops that know that I'm trying to turn them in? Being forced to go to cops who have repeatedly broken the law to prevent me from turning them in, and being told by a Nebraska State Patrol, whose job it is to investigate that, they didn't even pretend they were going to investigate it until one of their very own Nebraska State Patrol officers assaulted me, put their knee on the back of my neck like George Floyd. That's right, folks. And they're mentally ill, they're schizophrenic. Every cop in America knows that fucking trick. Every cop in America uses that fucking trick. Why do you think it is that the American public hates the homeless so much? These people run around telling y'all that we're all a bunch of fucking drug addicts. And then you don't bother to find out for yourself. You just assume. And then everything that we do, you just assume. Now, with those officers, I've repeatedly let them know that I am sick of being treated like I'm on drugs because of disabilities that I have. I have Tourette syndrome. That's not a choice. It doesn't hurt anyone. In order for me to effectively communicate, I have to be in a safe environment. That means there needs to be someone in the room that I know is there with my best interests at heart. And that is for certainly not officers in the same friggin' department. Especially when I'm trying to turn in to that officer the crimes committed by his fellow officers and by this very same place that he keeps trying to send me to. I'm trying to turn them in for not doing their jobs, for intentionally not doing their jobs. It's always the same excuses. You try to tell them about your abuse and they go, well, that's not my fault. Or, oh, I didn't do that. I'm not accusing you of doing it. I'm coming to you because you're the person I was told to come to. You're the person I am supposed to come to as a disabled person trying to get help stopping the abuse. But there's a lot of it to cover, and I can't talk about rape and fucking murder in goddamn Starbucks. There's another video on my YouTube of what happens if I talk about either one of those two things in a Starbucks. People call the cops. They hear something completely different than what I actually said, and they're paranoid because they're fucking stupid. Their ears are clogged and their head is stuck on paranoid. And I'm the one who gets victimized for it. I'm the one who has to move along, move along, move along, move along. I hate being surrounded by all of this stuff, living in my vehicle, surrounded by my own garbage, no way to even throw it away. I try to take out a bag of garbage every day. I'm not catching up very quick. I'm still in this shitty situation. the thing is that all of these people who let me know that they were threatened, harassed, or assaulted over this, if they were not threatened, harassed, or assaulted over this, then they intentionally misled me. If they were threatened, harassed, or assaulted over it, I'm not a bad person for speaking out. I'm not selfish for saying that the officers are doing this or that the volunteers are doing this. Obviously, the situation here in Hood River, it's not like Ted Bollinger is pulling a bunch of strings and having a bunch of bad cops do bad things. No, cops protect cops. They don't protect you. They protect themselves and they serve themselves. And I'm trying to turn in this place that he's literally telling me I got to call this place for advocacy. This place that's already letting me know that that's not what they do. And he's still telling me to call that place. It's the same issue that I had with Dual County Sheriff's Department and Meg, my autism advocate. Don't tell me that that's what they do. They're telling me it's not what they do. Instead of treating me like I'm lying to you, ask them if that's what they do. And do it in my presence, because if they tell you something different than what they're telling me, then I need to know why. Why is it that I am being lied to? That is why someone needs to be there and present. If someone wants to be lazy or make assumptions that make it okay for them to be lazy, somebody needs to be there to set them straight. When they want to treat me like I'm on drugs because I have Tourette's syndrome and because I'm autistic and I STEM. When they want to treat me like I am on drugs for that and slander my name, knowing I've already told them that I have Tourette's syndrome and I am autistic, that I am not on drugs. That don't matter, do it though. Yes, obviously I've had multiple situations where I've seen Lieutenant Cheli. Having to try to go up there and make that appointment. You know, that would have been great if my map quest would have worked, but it didn't. It kept on sending me in the wrong direction. And of course, since I wasn't able to record it here on YouTube, I was recording it on my Facebook, along with a whole lot of other drama from cowards. Scott Wallage typed orate Sean Pal. Someone calling themselves Beavers typed not now / anymore. I'm not sure what that means. I probably should have read it when I was talking at that point in time, because then I would have context. Beavers type just heavy drug use in the past. That makes it okay. Beavers, if you're being victimized from heavy drug use in the past, no, that doesn't make it okay. However, if you're using that as a crutch or as an excuse, or you're expecting people to forgive you who are still being victimized over stuff that you did while you were using those heavy drug use, that's different. If you got busted with a bunch of heroin and your dad wouldn't bail you out of jail, so you said that your dad was the one that gave you the heroin, and then your dad has got a bunch of crap that he's got to deal with for the rest of his life, whether he was convicted or not. There's still that thing in people's heads that they're going to pass judgment on him for. The heavy drug use years ago, if you've quit and you're sober, absolutely you're doing great. But if somebody is still being victimized over something that you did because you were on drugs, you do need to set it straight, or you're not sorry for what you've done. You're still trying to hide it. If you've only said you're sorry to them, but you didn't go back and try to correct it, you think that they should just let it go. They're still being victimized every day for it. That's different. Yes, I still fight for druggies despite the fact that I speak out about how horrible many druggies are. No, you can't help everyone. With Rihanna, it was supposed to be a mutual thing. We were supposed to help each other. With Rebecca, it's not that. Rebecca, it should be a mutual thing. With her disabilities, I do have to understand them. And that's the difference between me and nearly everybody who's offered or tried to help me, is that they don't understand the situation because they didn't take the time. And they don't understand my disabilities because they didn't take the time. And they don't understand the difference between Tourette syndrome and schizophrenia. They don't understand the difference between OCD and being an obsessive friggin' nut job who's in love with some girl who won't touch his parts. Scott Wallage typed, I'll take a double jack over any drug these days, even a spliff. I don't even know what a double jack is. I'm assuming that's probably a burger from Jack in the Box. Is that a good guess? For those of you, a lot of stuff that I say regionally, it's not going to make any sense to you. If you're not from the East Coast, the Southeast, you're not going to know what Food Lion is. Food Lion is basically like a Safeway. Um, ah, whiskey, double shot is what Scott Wallage is talking about. I'd rather have somebody who's got a split than somebody drinking whiskey. The most violent people that I've had to deal with have been either police officers or alcoholics. And some people, they can handle their alcohol. Some people, just the fact that it touched their lips gets them mentally drunk. They're not actually drunk yet. The alcohol hasn't actually made them drunk yet. But mentally, the fact that it touches their tongue, it gives them that release because they are that heavy of an alcoholic. When you're that bad, you might have seizures and die from it. That hurts me. If I love you, if I care about you and you drink yourself to death, that hurts me. It also hurts me when you're a witness and you drink yourself to death. A lot of people are mad at me because I told the truth, but I don't hate them for it. Scott Wallage typed, oh, I agree, man. Well, most people agree. That's the point. People know that this stuff is going on. They're aware that it's an everyday occurrence. They're aware that it's because nobody ever does anything, and then all they want to do is talk about it in groups. They want to generalize. Me today, or yesterday rather, when I talked to Dawn, like, that wasn't appropriate how that happened. That wasn't appropriate how they talked to me. Sorry, my legs are cold. Anyway, I don't have any real friends. For the most part, them youngins only come over here when they want cigarettes. And I don't want to be accused of being some sort of a creeper or trying to gain favor with somebody's girlfriend. So I don't give her cigarettes. I give them to him. It's absurd and stupid, but it's meant to make sure there's no sort of jealousy issues or assumptions or anything like that. Doing the right thing and helping people. A lot of times people are paranoid, and their paranoia is justified. They've been through a lot of abuse.